The sun was high, the grill was hissing, and the backyard smelled like smoke, mustard, and lies. It was supposed to be a relaxing 4th of July barbecue. Dad was manning the smoker. Mom had layered on 3 shades of bronzer, and my brother Ryan was already 3 beers in before the first burger hit the plate. Me? I was setting the table. Paper plates, plastic cups, the usual family gathering nonsense. My name is Melanie. I'm 27, a social worker, a single mom to a 5-year-old girl named Piper, and apparently still the family punching bag. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. Ryan was the golden boy, quarterback in high school, local college hero, currently between jobs, which in my family meant freeloading while being worshipped like a saint. He lived in our parents' guest house rent-free and had a new watch on his wrist every time I saw him. Meanwhile, I worked 2 jobs and still got passive-aggressive comments from Mom like, "Are you sure social work is a real career, honey? Maybe if you smiled more." That day, I'd brought a homemade pasta salad, something Piper helped me with. She was proud of it. Ryan took 1 bite and spat it back on the grass. "This tastes like your attitude," he muttered, bland and unnecessary. Mom giggled. Dad didn't even look up from the grill. Piper looked up at me with big, confused eyes. I told myself to stay calm. Don't escalate. Just get through the day. But then I said, at least I didn't get fired from 3 jobs in a year. Ryan's eyes snapped up. "What did you say?" I didn't back down. "I said you've been fired so many times your resume should be a list of exit interviews." Everyone froze. Ryan stood. "Say it again." "Why? So you can try and punch your way out of the truth too?" I should have stopped there, but I didn't. And that's when he lunged. He slammed me to the ground so fast I didn't even register the pain at first. Just heat, then blood. My nose was broken. I heard Piper scream. Everyone else? They just stood there. Dad barked, "Ryan, what the hell?" but didn't move. Mom ran up to him. To him. "Oh my God, baby, are your hands okay?" she shrieked. "That was self-defense. Melanie always provokes you." I was lying on the lawn, blood running down my face, and Mom was cradling his hands like he was the victim. I turned my head slowly and locked eyes with Piper. She was clutching her juice cup, crying quietly, completely frozen. I whispered, "It's okay, baby." But she knew it wasn't. I got up on my own. Nobody helped. I grabbed some napkins from the table, pressed them to my face, and walked inside. I locked the bathroom door and stared at my reflection. Bruised, bleeding, betrayed. I texted my friend Angela to come pick me up. She was there in 10 minutes. As I walked out, Mom called after me. "You're being dramatic again, Melanie. You always do this at family events." At the hospital, the doctor confirmed a nasal fracture. Angela sat beside me the whole time. But something changed in that hospital room. Something hard clicked into place. For 27 years, I'd been swallowing it all, the favoritism, the gaslighting, the humiliation, but they laid hands on me in front of my child, and then told her it was my fault. They made me bleed, and then watched me mop it up. They handed my abuser a beer and told him he was brave. I didn't cry that night. I didn't scream. I studied. Because if there was one thing I learned working in child protection, it's that when you want to ruin someone legally, you don't throw punches, you build a case. And Ryan had no idea he'd just handed me everything I needed. The next morning, I woke up with my face swollen, my nose taped, and my daughter curled against me like a little frightened bird. She hadn't said much since the barbecue, just clung to me with her tiny hands. 5 years old and already learning the language of silence that this family handed down like a curse. Angela made us breakfast and didn't ask questions. She knew I'd talk when I was ready. She also handed me a USB drive without a word. "What's this?" I asked. She just smiled. "Something I pulled off the old camera I installed on your porch last month. It caught everything." I plugged it into my laptop with shaking hands. There it was, clear footage of Ryan punching me in the face, Piper's scream, my mother sprinting to his side and calling me dramatic, my father doing absolutely nothing, all of it. Angela said softly, "If you want to press charges, you can. I already called a lawyer for you. You just say the word." But I wasn't ready to call the cops. Not yet. I wanted something better. Ryan always said he wanted to run for office one day. Start local, he'd bragged. City council, maybe mayor. My parents loved that idea. They called him our little leader. He already had a LinkedIn page with a fake job title, an Instagram full of staged community photos, and Mom had even printed business cards for him that read, Ryan Whitlock, future public servant. I stared at that footage and thought about what it would look like in a campaign ad, or worse, leaked. But first, I needed something deeper. I knew abuse. I worked in the system, but when it happened to me, I was in shock. Now I needed to act like the social worker I'd trained to be. I reached out to a contact at CPS and asked for a consultation anonymously at first. I explained the situation, a child witnessing domestic violence, family members enabling the abuser, history of emotional trauma, no remorse shown. Then, I dropped the file. Footage, witness testimony, medical records, a letter written by Piper's preschool teacher describing concerning behavior and anxiety after a loud party at Grandma's. And my own official complaint on the record. I also told them I had no intention of letting my daughter visit that household again. Ever. Meanwhile, Ryan's campaign was heating up. He started a local Young Leaders podcast, posted staged coffee shop photos with veterans, and even gave a speech at a community cleanup drive. My mother was behind every shot, snapping pictures like a proud manager. They were building his image. I was building his demolition. I reached out to one of my old college friends, Simone, who worked at a media outlet. Not one of the big networks, but local, and with a decent online reach. I told her I had a story. I sent her the footage and all the evidence, and I asked for one favor. Don't put my name on it until I say. She agreed. A week later, Ryan posted a video on Instagram announcing his plans to run for city council. 3 days after that, Simone's article dropped. Local candidate caught on tape, assaulting woman at family BBQ, mother seen covering up incident. The video went viral in hours. Hashtags exploded. Piper's preschool had to shut down their social media page because people started tagging them in angry posts about child endangerment. My parents? They were quiet. No texts, no calls. Until Dad finally rang. We need to talk, Mel. You're blowing things way out of proportion. You're hurting your own family. You mean the family that watched me bleed and blamed me? It was a misunderstanding. No, it was recorded, and it's public. Then I hung up. Ryan released a public statement saying the footage was taken out of context and that family disagreements shouldn't define leadership. But no one bought it. People started digging. Turns out Ryan had unpaid debts, unpaid parking tickets, and a restraining order from an old ex-girlfriend that had magically disappeared until now. I didn't leak that part. Someone else did. His campaign was over before it began. But I wasn't done. I filed a no-contact order, not just for Ryan, for my parents too. I'd already cut them off emotionally, but now it was legal. Piper deserved better. She wasn't going to grow up in the same poisoned garden I did. And the final nail? Remember that guest house Ryan lived in on my parents' property? Turns out, my parents had refinanced their home to help Ryan pay off his debts last year. I found the documents when Mom accidentally CC'd me on an old email. They had defaulted once already. The house was under watch. So, I made an anonymous tip to the bank, alerting them that the property was occupied by someone committing insurance fraud and possibly violating terms of loan forgiveness. 2 months later, a notice went up on their lawn. Foreclosure. Ryan moved in with some girl who ran a crystal shop. Mom and Dad tried to stay with my aunt. She said no. And me? I bought a little house 2 blocks from Piper's new school. Nothing fancy, but it had a backyard, a swing set, and a giant oak tree where we hung wind chimes. Sometimes I'd watch her twirl beneath the branches and think, she'll never know what it's like to be called dramatic for crying. She'll never hear you're too sensitive when she speaks her truth. Not in my house. Because this time the cycle broke with me. The day Ryan officially lost his appeal was the day I knew it was over. The smear campaign he tried to launch against me backfired, badly. He'd gone on a desperate live stream claiming I'd edited the footage, saying I had a vendetta. But then another girl came forward, then another. One had screenshots, one had bruises. His followers dwindled. His brand deals vanished. The podcast shut down. And the future mayor was suddenly just a disgraced man with a mountain of debt and a red face on every news outlet. And my parents? They didn't beg. They blamed. Mom showed up at my doorstep one rainy morning, hair soaking, face blotchy, mascara dripping. "How could you do this to your own brother?" she sobbed. I didn't open the screen door. Piper stood behind me holding a doll, watching. "You did this," I said calmly. "When you let him break my nose, when you called me a liar, when you told my daughter to go play in the shed because the adults were talking. That was you." "He didn't mean to hit you," she cried. "You were yelling, you made it worse. And now, we've lost everything. You took it all." "No," I said. "You gave it all away, and now you've got the echo left." She walked away, soaked in silence. Weeks passed. Ryan moved into a shared apartment downtown, last I heard. He was working night shifts at a warehouse. Mom and Dad couch-surfed between distant relatives, but no one really wanted them. Their social circle had shrunk. Word spreads fast when someone's caught on video laughing over a daughter's broken face. But that wasn't my concern anymore. My focus was Piper. I started a program in our community center for young girls who'd witnessed family violence. I called it Glasshouse Club, a place where no one had to tiptoe on shards. We had art therapy, journaling, storytelling. Piper came to every session, even if just to color in the corner while I spoke. One afternoon, she tugged at my sweater and said, "Mommy, do you remember that barbecue?" I tensed. "Yeah, baby, I do." She looked up at me. "I'm glad we left. I like it better here. It's quiet. Nobody yells." My eyes burned. She went back to coloring, humming softly. That night, I lit a candle and took out the old notebook I used to hide in high school, the one where I wrote letters I never sent. I flipped to the last page and wrote, "Dear Ryan, you taught me what fists can do, but I taught you what truth can destroy. Goodbye." Then I tore it out, crumpled it, and threw it into the fire. The past was ash. And the future? It was mine. Every quiet moment, every safe breath, every time Piper laughed and didn't flinch, every smile I gave without needing to fake it. That's how I ruined his future. By finally saving mine. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.